Hello everyone. Shabak Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Beyond 20, powered by Bangladesh High Tech Park Authority of ICT Division and in association with BIDA, Bangladesh Investment Development Authority. This is the first event organized by Inspiring Bangladesh for the youth. It's a 3 days long program where we are focusing into skills, investment, and startups. So I would like to invite our special guest from ICT Division, the Managing Director of Hosne Ara Begum, in this session to inaugurate. And we are looking forward for a 3 days long, action-packed, and full of knowledge-based session. And at the same time, I want to introduce you with our other panelists, Kylie Rowe from Washington D.C. Is a leadership coach at the same time. Uh, let me have another guest from Bangladesh. He is an investment specialist from Australian government, Mr. Rahman Tushar, and I'm inviting our another guest, Kylie Rowe from Washington D.C. So I'd like to invite our honorable managing director from Bangladesh High Tech Park Authority for his opening speech, and at the same time to inaugurate this uh, 3 days long beyond and 3 days long beyond. So I'm giving this opportunity to our honorable managing director, Madam Hosne Ara Begum. Madam.
Good morning to everybody. I am Hosne Ara Begum. I am the Managing Director of Bangladesh High Tech Park Authority. Thank you, Imran Fahad, for introducing me because it's my pleasure and honor that I am here in this August gathering. This is not only the starting of the Beyond 2021, also it will continue up to 1,000 years because people's life is like that always he can introduce he or herself for a new intervention or new innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, you know that Miss Bangladesh is now the one of the most promising country, and I am very happy to hear that I am also a part of this journey. I always tell that Bangladesh having lot of opportunities, and there are a lot of young generation so that they can go ahead for developing this country, and also they are the main part and parcel to do betterment for their socio-economic development. You know that was our Honorable Prime Minister also declared that Vision 2021 that by this time our country will be the middle income country, and also by 2041 country will be the developed country. By this time we already recognize that we are the mid-income country, and also our country was the labor-based country. Now it's transforming to the knowledge-based economy. Because of that, now the IT and IT sector is the thrust sector of Bangladesh, and our Honorable Prime Minister has given emphasis to this sector, and already lot of projects has been taken by the government, not from the ICT division, also from the other different entities. And ICT division is working for the development of the IT sector, and High Tech Park Authority is one of the entity of the ICT division. And this ICT division, there are 4 other organizations under this division, and all the divisions are working for the development of this ICT sector. A2I projects also, I can remember for them, for their activities, that you all know about the activities of the A2I, that they are working all the other ministries. And High Tech Park Authority also, we are working in almost all the district and division. By this time, 28 High Tech Park already we have taken, and just recently our Honorable Prime Minister approved in the another 11 IT and incubation center. So that we are covering almost 39 areas, and we will cover all 64 districts. Internationally now, Bangladesh has been recognized by different different organization and also different bodies. And by the World Bank, they already recognize that Bangladesh is the 33rd economic area, and also CEBR, they also recognize that that country will go to the 22nd economic areas. And not only that, that Everest, Perfect, Jones, Etikani, they also recognize that Bangladesh is now going to be emerging sector. Before going to other areas, because of that, there will be a lot of other speakers. They will tell so many of other areas. And from my high-tech park, my another colleague will give you some slide and also will also give you some of the information about my high-tech park authority. Because of that, there are so many areas already we have developed the park, and this park are going to be ready for the investment. So for getting the investment, the investor having some queries that whether we are ready for the investment, our infrastructure is ready, whether we have the financial package or fiscal years for the investors, so whether they may local or foreign, or our business environment is lucrative for the foreign investors, and is there any skilled manpower so that they can get the skilled manpower easily for doing their business, and also the startup facilities. If I go one by one, it will take a lot of times. I will not take that much of time for the opening session, but I can give you the assurance that all the queries from the investors, we have the answer, because now we are the ready, and also government also ready, because from the government side, they are giving a lot of initiatives and also a lot of lucrative packages for the investors. And we have also another strategy, which is the one-stop service. By the one-stop service, we are giving all sorts of facilities for the local and foreign companies and also IT sector. And relentlessly, we are working in that area. Because of that, this is the most important part for the foreigners, so that they can come here and they can get their facilities easily from the high-tech park authority. And I have already mentioned that now 28 high-tech parks, and already it has been added that another 11, that means now 39 park and incubation centers we also under in high-tech park authority, and another so many of other projects and programs we are taking. This is also in our hand. So that means we can cover all the necessary support for everyone. Because of that, always what we are give the emphasis, what is that what's the requirements of the local foreign local IT industry and also the foreign industry. Is there human resource, or is the space or land, or is the financial incentives, or is there any other supporting infrastructure such as roads, such as port, air, and also train communication? What is this? So all of this we are also make sure that everything can be easily given to the park holders and also the industry. Suppose in my Kaliakor, which is the 25 miles away from the head office, and the train line also there. Not only that, we have the bus communication. Our personal bus also we have, so that any IT industry can use that one. That means we also think that what kinds of facilities they need if they come forward to high-tech park or any other organization of ICT division. They can come to our minister, honorable minister. They can come to our ICT secretary. Always we are ready to give all the supports. Because of that, our honorable prime minister always says that means this is the actual time. Already we have passed times, so we cannot waste any moment. So always we may do something for the betterment of the socio-economic condition of Bangladesh. And without the IT and IT sectors cannot be possible. Suppose for the agriculture or education or health, everywhere we need the IT based support. So that means all the supports from ICT division we can give. And we are also working with the other ministries by ATY or by the LICT or some other agencies, so that they can give the actual they can find out the actual need of that ministry, and according to their to their need, they can give the all supports. So I'm not taking the much more time for this time, because I have seen that maybe there is 13 or more than 13 session will be there, and lot of speakers are here, and I'm very happy that there are so many of participants. There, Mr. Mojibul Huq is one of my favorite colleague, and also Muhammad Mehdi Jaman, Mustafizur Rahman, and Kylie Rowe. I have seen her, and also the Mr. Sultan Rahid, Imran Fahad, and Andrew Marilo. All of the participants are now are present in this inauguration session, and I'm really sorry that I cannot give much more time for themselves to hear from their side, because I know they will give a lot of suggestion that how we can develop ourselves. Because of that, it's true. We are lagging behind the management side, because we are developing a lot of parts, but most difficult part is the management. Management is one of the crucial issue for the High Court Authority. Because of that, we don't have that much of expertise. So if I get any suggestion from your side, it will be much more helpful for High Tech Park, for also ICT division, also for the government, so that we cannot misuse our resources. A lot of money are given by the government, and our Honorable Prime Minister is very, very soft-hearted in this issue. When we tell that this is for the high-tech park, this is for the ICT division, this is for the digital lab, this is for the digitization of Bangladesh, always without any argue, he always support us that, okay, this project has been passed, and you are very much welcome to do that one. So we are very happy with our Honorable Prime Minister, because we are getting a lot of inspiration, and also the another part is that for the women participation, she promised that 30% women will be employed in each and every park, and also 30% women will be trained by the project. So each and every projects and programs, we have that mandate that we will give the priority of the 30%, and especially for the women, there are some other projects component, so that we are giving the training to those girls which are not from the Dhaka city. They are from the other parts of the country, so that the rural areas women can be upgraded their lifestyle and life. So this is also the suggestion from our honorable advisor, and also from our honorable Prime Minister. We are doing that one. So I have taken a lot of time. Now I have another meeting in Planning Commission. Then another project will be passed, hopefully, inshallah, from the planning. So I will go there, and in that project, the 6 laboratories will be established, and our Indian government will support us. So I'm going to attend that meeting, and in that component also 2,800 participants will be trained, and this training may be IoT, blockchain, and then another AR, VR, and also something like that types of training. Also mid-level training we have. So, but this training will be happen, and hopefully that planning will pass this component and this issue, and that this laboratory. So when you will come to Bangladesh, you will enjoy the facilities of that high standard laboratory, which will be established within very soon. So I'm very happy that I'm here. I'm also unhappy that I cannot hear from your side now. So both the mixed feelings I have now, but still I am really happy with Mr. Imran Fahad, because he has arranged these types of event, So within this event, lot of participants, lot of students, lot of school and college going students can be benefited, and they can learn from something from your side, and they will incorporate their ideas, which they will get from your suggestion and from your keynote speech and your presentation, and they can introduce to their own companies. So thank you everybody, thank you everyone, thank you Imran Fahad, and thank you all the other guests presented here. And I am really grateful to everyone that you have come here, and always please keep in touch with us. And with these few words, I would like to inaugurate this intellectual, this Augustine, this event, and also this 3 days webinar. Thank you everybody, and thank you to say this. This
Thank you,
is of
madam.
this.
Thank you, madam, for being amazing and being supporting for us. And like I would like to introduce you with our panel members. We have got Mr. Moon from Ernst and Young Bangladesh. He's the associate vice president. And we have got Mustafizur Rahman Tushar. He's representing investment body from Australian government. And we have got Kylie Rowe from Washington D.C., all the way from US. And we will have another guest from UAE, Sultan Lootah. So he will join in a bit. So thank you, madam, for facilitating us, and we are looking forward for a great upcoming 3 days long session. And we will start our opening with a keynote from Kylie Rowe on the topic of personal leadership and taking your venture to the next level. So I will start this panel keynote with your
Okay.
permission, so that like we can
Thank
start
you.
our whole session from now
Thank
on.
you. So when I'll get time, I will join today
Absolutely.
or tomorrow and day after tomorrow. When the time will be permit
Sure.
me, yes, I will join, because I would like to get some knowledge from these types of guests, and also the representative from different bodies. Thank you,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and happy
Thank you, madam. With
and
your
and
permission, we are
happy
starting
good
this.
day. Good
Yes.
day. Bye.
Yes. So I
Thank you
hope
so much.
we will have you pretty soon again in this station. And we have got another guest who is just joined from Australia, Mr. Rahi Khandakar. He's an
Bye.
NRB. He's an NRB at the same time. He's the CEO of 7W Consulting. And we are looking forward for a great session in upcoming 3 days. So we are starting our opening session with the permission of our Honorable Hosne Ara Begum, NDC, Managing Director of Bangladesh High Tech Park Authority. So we are going to our keynote from Kylie Rowe, and we will start our group panel discussions after that. Okay. Thank
Thank
you,
you so
everyone.
much. Thank you. Bye. Bye, everybody. See you
Yes.
again.
Yes.
See you, brother. Good to see you. Good to see you, everyone.
Yes. So the module of our opening ceremony, we will have a panel discussion after the keynote. So we will enjoy the keynote of Ms. Kylie Rowe all the way from Washington D.C., and we will start our panel discussions after that. All right, guys.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Sounds
All right.
awesome. Okay.
Okay.
Great.
So we are going for the keynote.
All right, so we're getting this presentation up. I'm going to be working with the back end team to make sure we're on the right slide as we progress through. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity, Imran. This is really cool to be here, and I love that this is called Inspiring Bangladesh, because the mission of my company and also the mission that I have in my life is to always inspire people to be the best versions of themselves. And so I think that this fits really nicely with what I believe in. And I also want to recognize all the attendees. I understand that there's a lot of college students that are on the line. There's government officials, there's dignitaries here. Thank you very much for taking the time to hear me speak. It means a lot to me. I talk a lot about personal leadership, and it's a philosophy that I have that leadership really does start with yourself. And if you want to do anything, whether you're building relationships with anyone from a personal or a business perspective, you want to start a new company, you have a company and you work with a team and you want to grow the team together and lead them, that we have to look to ourselves first in order to be the most effective leader. And, on the next slide, I'm really going to make the point, and this might be really interesting, that it all actually links back to boomerangs. And this is fascinating. And I know that we have someone from Australia here, but boomerangs, for those of you who don't know, go back 10,000 years. They're ancient. Originally, boomerangs were a tool, a weapon that were used by Australian Aborigines. And it was something that was used. It was thrown directly and it would hit a target. And often when I think nowadays, when we think about boomerangs, we think about the one here in this image. We think about the curved shaped one, the one where when you throw it at a target, it actually ultimately comes back to you. And I know that you're like, how does boomerangs have anything to do with entrepreneurship and new ventures? So I'm going to get to that. But the truth is, this talk is all about mastering the boomerang effect. And I think that's really important, and I'll explain what that is. But in today's world, there's so much change going on. So many countries around the world were impacted by COVID-19 in many different ways. I know in the United States, individual states have been impacted differently. Cities within states are impacted. Lots of business operations have discontinued. Lots of business operations are slower. Business isn't happening as quickly. People are having to pivot. And I think at any time in our personal and or business lives, when we're looking at a pivot and a big change ahead, we start to ask ourselves a lot of questions. We start to ask, what am I doing? Am I happy with this? Am I going to be successful doing this? Is this going to, if I continue down this pathway, am I going to reach my goals? And I know for me, anytime I found myself in a position where I started questioning things like that, and maybe when you've identified, shoot, I do need to make a change, I do need to do something different, that's when the boomerang effect comes in. Because every time that we're willing to do something new and do something different, we're throwing out a boomerang. So, for example, you enrolled in Inspiring Bangladesh. You're here today. You decided to show up. You said yes to that. You threw out a boomerang with the idea that a boomerang, eventually, every time you throw one, something will come back to you. We don't know today what any of us are going to get from this experience, but we've all agreed to participate in this. And it's this and so many other things. We're involved in our communities. We're agreeing to go on a new date with somebody. We're enrolling in a different course. We're starting a venture. All of these things that we say yes to are you throwing out a boomerang into the world, not knowing when, where, what, or how, but somehow it will come back to you. And so the other interesting thing about boomerangs, if you go to the next slide, is my name Kylie means boomerang in Australian, and it's been really fun for me to be able to tie that into that. And as I continue into the slide deck, what I want to do is share a little bit about me, because you're all probably wondering who is this woman. And so I'm going to share a little bit about my story and about how boomerangs connect to leadership and business and entrepreneurship. So, when I was preparing for this presentation, I started thinking about my experience that I actually had last night in Washington, D.C. And I just relocated here. I'm from the state of Nevada in the United States, and I just moved to Washington, D.C. very recently. And I went to an event last night, and I met a gentleman at the event. And he said, so what do you do? And I said, well, I run my own business. And he said, okay, what kind of business do you run? Well, I specialize in leadership and business development services. What does that mean? I'm like, well, for example, I am a public speaker and I develop business strategy for corporations. And then he looks at me very intently and he goes, how old are you? And I'm like, I think often sometimes when people ask that, maybe it's a little bit of a frivolous question, but the gentleman was curious. And so I decided to play along and I said, how old do you think I am? And he said, 28. And I was like, nope, I'm 35. And he was stunned. He was like very shocked that I was much older than I am. And he was like, okay, what qualifies you to speak on leadership and work with CEOs and corporations to develop business strategy. He was searching for something. And so I had to explain to him. I said, look, I studied economics as an undergraduate in college, and I earned 2 master's degrees, a master's in social work and a master's in business administration. I've ran a real estate investing company for more than a decade. I've been an executive at several different corporations, and alongside of those things, I had won many different awards. Recently, this year, I was awarded the Executive of the Year. And he was astonished and speechless, I think, at the time last night. And then he was about to say something, and I said, and that isn't really what qualifies me. There's something else that qualifies me the most to do what I do. And he said, what? And I told him that I had an addiction. So I had an addiction for 10 years. I had an eating disorder. I had bulimia, and I've been now in recovery for 12 years. But I explained to him that my experience with an addiction and going through the recovery phase is probably the #1 most important training that I've gained to prepare me for leadership and business development and new ventures. And I explained it because as you recover from addiction and you really start to understand and learn the tools and the coping mechanisms to address your health, your emotional and mental health, you start to learn about who you are. And as you start to understand some of these childhood traumas that occur for individuals in the world, and you face those, you start to get comfortable with who you are, and you can express that to other people. And at the end of the day, the most important thing in business is building relationships, building rapport with individuals so that you can foster trust. So ultimately, you can do a business transaction, you can lead a team, and you can, hopefully change your communities, change the world. And so I am sharing this stuff with you because I think it's important for you to understand where I'm coming from, and so that you understand why some of these things and my approach to leadership is important as it relates to the personal leadership side of things. So if you advance to the next slide, what I want to do is I want to talk to you about how do you get to know who you are. If you've never done any work on identifying who you are and what you care about, how do you do that? So on the next slide, it'll talk about a target list. And I actually created this list. I'd been studying in China. I was studying in China for 2 months several years ago. And on the flight home back to the United States, I just started thinking, gosh, like, what am I doing in my life? Where am I going to go? What am I going to do next? And I decided to sit down and write down the things that I really care about, the priorities that I have for me personally. And I identified these 8 areas of life that are the most important to me. And I started to call this my target list. And if you go to the next slide, I'll break down what this means. So for me, for example, education is very important. I have 3 degrees. So I write a check next to that. I'm doing really well in that area of my life. Love, it's another thing that's really important to me. On this one, I put a half mark, not because it's not there, but because there's opportunities for love down my path. I'm not all the way there yet, but we're getting closer. Best friends, check. Money, I've invested a lot into this new business that I have, and I need to generate money now. And so I have a lot of opportunity for growth there. Family, doing well. Community, I said I relocated to Washington, D.C. So I want to connect with people outside of my workplace, with people outside of my friendship group, so that I can make an impact in the area in which I live. And then health, this one can be broken down. I'm not going to dive into each section of this, but the reason for me why this one's marked half is because I tore my ACL last year and I had to get surgery, knee surgery. And I'm still recovering slightly, so I'm not 100% of the way there. And then career, I have a check. And what I'm going to say is, if all of you who are watching today, if there's only one thing that you do or one thing that you take away, I would please ask that you write down your target list, that you write down what matters to you. And you can use my list, or you can modify it either way. But I'll ask you to sit and think, what are the areas of your life that really matter, and how are you doing in those areas? Do you have a full check? Are you completely fulfilled? Are you maybe halfway there, or partially way there? Or maybe it's an X, because I will tell you, this is the first keynote that I've given where my love wasn't an X. I actually have a line. So I think I'm making improvement. But the point is not that you need to have a full check in every single box. And it doesn't matter if you have an X somewhere. The point is having awareness around the things that matter to you, so that when you're getting ready to throw out your boomerangs, when you're getting ready to every single box, and it doesn't matter if you have an X somewhere. Uh-oh, I'm starting to echo. Okay, it stopped. Okay, so when you're getting ready to try on a new opportunity, or let's say you've been throwing out boomerangs, you went to Inspiring Bangladesh and you met somebody who you can partner with on a new business opportunity. Now the boomerang is coming back to you. Does that line up with the areas of your life that you care about? And so I think as we accept new opportunities, we need to measure them against our target list and filter based on the things that we know that we've previously identified that we care about. So let's talk about how this relates to entrepreneurs. So on the next slide, we're going to pivot and we're going to start diving into the leadership curriculum. And if you go to the next slide after that, it makes a statement that, well, it was the previous one, but that's okay. It makes a statement that entrepreneurs are leaders of themselves first. And so let's talk about why that is. So go ahead and advance 2 slides. There you go. All right. So when we talk about leadership, who is a leader? A leader is someone that you trust. It's someone that influences you and leaves an impact. You know who they are and what they stand for. And I've been doing a lot of research lately on leadership. I'm designing a leadership development training program for a federal department in the government here for the United States. And I read that for 3 decades, there's been global research that's been conducted that indicated that there's 4 top things that people identify in leadership. And they're honest, competent, inspiring, and forward thinking. And all of those qualities will shine through in the rest of the content that we have here. So let's move forward to the next slide. So when you are honest, one of the top qualities that I just mentioned, it gives you credibility. When you have credibility, people will increasingly trust you. When people trust you, they'll follow you. And with followers, you're a leader. So on the next slide, it's going to talk about how do you build trust? And this is really the crux of leadership. Without trust, you have nothing. Without trust, you can't influence anyone. And at the end of the day, if we're going to build our own companies, or even we're going to join a team, we have to be able to build rapport with others. The first way to do that is to communicate. It's to share who you are. So you've done this work, you've identified your target list, you know what matters to you. Share that with people. Share what you value, and then give people an opportunity to actively respond. And when they speak with you, you want to listen. And active listening is parroting what somebody's saying, repeating back to them to make sure that they know that they're heard. Making sure that people are heard is one of the most important things. Giving people more than you take and help others achieve goals. This is so valuable in the workplace, because a lot of times if you're a CEO of a company and you're not willing to roll up your sleeves, people don't see you. They don't know who you are. But if you're willing to jump in and you're willing to help people out and show them that you care and that you're in it with them, that will build credibility. That will build trust and inspiration. Follow up, follow through, and stay connected. This is critical. So anytime you're doing networking, you're connecting with others, if you say you're going to follow up with them, do that. This is one of the most important things as it relates to credibility. If you don't do what you say, no one will believe you. They ultimately won't trust you, and you'll never be able to lead or develop any kind of relationship with someone to conduct business. The next slide talks about, we're going to move into bravery. And to me, one of the most important parts of bravery in the next slide is having a growth mindset. And I think that this is the growth mindset is very, if you want to go to the next slide, The growth mindset is very relevant, especially in technology, in tech and innovation. If you want to advance to the next slide, thank you. So if you have a growth mindset, you believe that your talents can be developed through hard work. You embrace boomerangs. You embrace trying new things. You embrace creativity and innovation. You believe you can advance with input from others. If you go to the next slide, it will talk about what it means to be brave. And what I'll say is being brave definitely doesn't come without feeling fear or feeling hurt. Being brave is the ability to look fear and hurt right in the face and say, hey, get out of here. You're in my way. You don't belong here. It's having the courage to change. I also think being brave is feeling. It's scary to show your emotions. You're being brave if you fight for your heart. You're brave to show up, to start over. You're brave to love. You're brave to let go, to pivot. You're brave to fit in. You're brave to just be yourself. I think it's very brave to travel to unknown places, to paths you've never been, to see what you're capable of and believe it. You don't have to have everything figured out to move forward. You just have to be brave. So on the next slide, I love this. I love what I say here, but it's if you're not changing, you're not growing. And I think that that's so critical to any new business, any business growth, anything entrepreneurial related. And then after that, I think the next slide goes into, go ahead and, okay, so now after years, for me personally, of throwing all these boomerangs out there, getting all these master's degrees, getting involved with the TEDx community and curating TEDx and becoming an MC and being an executive of companies and winning awards and all these things, when I really sit back and think, how did I get where I am? It's that exactly. It's being introspective. It's being thoughtful about my own mental and emotional state. It's thinking, it's acting like, it's the act of looking within oneself. And this is, I can't say this enough, how important this is. And the first way to kind of get going on this is to build out that target list. And then, but at the end of the day, if you learn lessons about who you are and where you've come from, you're not gonna change anything or go anywhere if you don't have intention. And the next slide defines intention, but it's simple. It's having an aim or a plan. So we can define our values and we can talk about who we are, but if we don't align those up with a vision for ourselves or for our company, then we don't have the roadmap to get there. You know, to finalize this chat with you guys, what I'll say is 12 years ago, you know, I've been in recovery from my eating disorder for 12 years. I wasn't aware. I did not have intention. I wasn't brave. But I see clearly now that I've never gotten anywhere that mattered without me leading myself first. Boomerangs, as we talked about earlier, date back 10,000 years. Boomerangs have evolved into the shape that they are today, and now they're returning, just like humans can evolve through self-awareness. So your first step is to establish your boomerang test. Who are you? What do you care about? Are you reflecting that in your life and in your choices and in the boomerangs that you throw and accept? Are you building credibility, trust? Are you being brave? The next slide will ask you, what is your boomerang test? You're on the verge of this boomerang effect. It starts with choosing life. Choose wisely. All right, that's all I have for you guys. The last slide is the way to get in touch with me. You can find me online. My website is kylierowe.com. I have my email up there, all my social media handles. I'd love to hear if anybody would like to connect with me after. Feel free to reach out. And yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Kylie, for being so amazing, and it was full of in-depth analysis on leadership. And now we will go in our panel discussions. We have got Mr. Muiz Suki from Ernst & Young and Mr. Mustafizur Rahman Tushar from an investment specialist and educational specialist from Australian government. So we are we will start our panel discussions regarding Beyond 20. What we are expecting after 2020, that is the most important things everyone is focusing right now. So I will go to Mr. Mustafizur Rahman. Like, what your perception beyond 2020? What we are expecting after this COVID or pandemic, Mr. Mustafizur Rahman?
Thank you, Imran.
Yeah.
I hope you can hear me this time. Kylie, thanks for the boomerang. It's one of my favorite and very Aussie. My name is Mustafiz, as Imran said. I'm the director, trade and investment. And I look after education and skill development is one of my area that I look after. As everybody knows, Australia is one of the a very high level country, quite successful with their TVET sector, the technical and vocational education system, which is absolutely brilliant. So, and I'm closely working with Bangladesh Technical Education Department, working with the A2I, ICT department. The ma'am explained that high tech park. In the IT sector, Bangladesh is doing absolutely brilliant. Imran, thank you very much for bringing all the key people into your program, which is amazing. I'm not going to take more of your time because there are quite a bit of high level of the people already in the program today. Still, I'm traumatized and hypnotized by Kylie, what she was saying. And thank you, Kylie, for that. So what I think is the technical education during the post-COVID period, by updating the current method of imparting education is more important. So technical education should be the most priority during post-COVID period. If you look at the crisis, the economic crisis, the global crisis, and we are in between life and living, actually a big challenge for us. And that some Kylie was explaining that how I need to prepare myself. All right, we are in a situation, we have a problem, we have tons of people used to work in overseas, they just got back, they lost their job, what is next? So I think appropriate skill set is very important at this point in Bangladesh. Through a proper training, it has to be very modern, timely, effective, with high technical knowledge. So that the question is how youth skill can be harnessed during the post-COVID period to turn the crisis around, and how these skills can be enhanced through education. Appropriate government policy to skill up the young generation. I think national task force with key emerging industry leaders from different promising sectors like governments, IT, light electrical sector, and all. Also, academics to design the short and effective training needs for different sectors, especially the key export and domestic sectors where we can actually build the workforce to support the frontline industry through backward linkage, small and medium industry clusters. So what will be the outcome? We can reduce import to meet the local demand, increase exports, generate skilled manpower for domestic and also for export. Foreign revenue can be increased. More foreign investors can be attracted. Last but not least, reduce unemployment rates. That is more scary now, that we need to look at to
Right.
skill up the people to meet our domestic demand and increase export. So what I advise is regional integration is very important at this point. The people we used to export, they stop buying it from Bangladesh now. So we need to start dialogue. So we are getting ourselves ready. We used to support, now coming back to the business. Increase exports, that is how you can maximize by a good dialogue with other countries, which is post-COVID initiative, and now we can initiate so that when everything will be okay, inshallah, so we can come back to a normal business as usual. We are now in a new normal life. So, and the next one is facilitate public-private partnership, which is very important.
Right.
So only private sector can't do everything. Only government can do everything. So you need to integrate two group together, come up with a decision and help each another and grow. And the next
Right.
advice is brand Bangladesh is the overseas market with success stories. We have so many success stories and use
Right.
digital tools and platform like Inspiring Bangladesh to promote country that we are all set and ready. And the
Right.
last is active Bangladesh mission overseas to find opportunity for export. So I think skilling is the major area that we should look at. Our second biggest revenue is actually people working overseas. So the system that we have, government do have tons of fund now, started realizing, Ministry of Education started realizing, Ministry of Expatriate and Foreign Affairs started realizing that we need to skill up our people. Millions and millions dollars she budgeted for this sector. I think we need to use that budget right way. You need to have a group of people who have knowledge, who are representing different sectors like industry, academics, professionals, and government, sit together, group, and form a national task force. They'll design that what will be our short-term, mid-term, and long-term plan. So that's the shorter version of my today's speech for everyone today. So I'm
Right.
happy to be here. Thank you again. Thanks for everything.
Yes, yes, and we are looking forward to have you in our upcoming sessions as well. With this note, I will go to Mr. Muiz Tasnim Toki to for his opinion beyond 2020, like what we are expecting, after this pandemic or like after this COVID-19, and what will be your take on skills, investment, and for the startups, like what they are expecting into the upcoming days, Mr. Muiz.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Imran Bhai, for giving me the opportunity and inviting me in this very good platform to discuss in these new challenges and also this investment perspective for the Bangladesh market. So for the Ernst & Young perspective, I would say like we are working some this investment opportunities, and also we are facing lots of challenges on these kind of things because of to very honest, I want to say some point of context at this moment. So from the leadership perspective, I'll say for the in this pandemic, we will find out the exact people who are basically the real survivor in the market. I mean, already Mustafiz was said, like for the job crisis and other stuff, but the survivor, I will say, they are really added value in their position. That's why they can survive in this pandemic. This is number one. And for the learning perspective in this pandemic, I would say like, if you want to survive in your sector, if you want to survive in your position, if you think like, yes, I need to be added value in my work, then I think so any pandemic condition, if come in future, I think you can survive very easily if you have that capacity or capability in your work. So that is make sure also, I will say, they at this moment, the people who are the superhero in this sector, who are really surviving in this pandemic, right? So there's each and every sector need to be focused. This is number one. And also for the investment perspective, the global loss of companies, and also for the government perspective, are focusing in Bangladesh market. But from the Ernst & Young, we are facing some challenges when we are take it forward for the next level discussion. Like we need to follow all the compliance and processes in each and every sector, like the private or government also. Because when the partner will come to work with you, absolutely he will make sure first, like, are you follow the each and every regulatory sectors, or the when we basically go for the due diligence. So in that case, if we find out the negative challenges, like if we are not following, so it's very difficult to make a partnership, because it's not only the partnership, it's also make sure the transparency with the both partners. So that we need to be make sure from our side. And also we are facing this kind of challenges in Bangladesh market at this moment, because it's a very new thing. There's a very new thing in this area. And but lots of opportunities are coming, And basically from the government sector, like they are really taking a very big initiative. As we know, like the high tech park and also the ICT division, the BEJA. But in the private sector, I will say like lots of big conglomerate or private sector companies, they are basically taking initiative to merge with a bigger partner based on their business sector. So in that case, I'll absolutely very happy to say that like I think in next 2 to 3 years, lots of partnership will be happening in Bangladesh market, and jointly lots of opportunities will create. The job market also be increased, and I think inshallah will make a good success in future.
Yes. That's what we're expecting.
So
And with this,
that's how it
we're
is. I don't want
yes,
to just to share the platform with Imran Bhai, and that's the message from my side.
exactly. And we have got other guests who will join within a few minutes from different part of the world. We are connecting 10 countries like in this summit, in this Beyond 20, where we are talking about skills investment and startups. So I will go again to Ms. Kylie Rowe to know more about his perspective about Beyond 20, like what we can expect more, and what will be the other challenges that we might face in near futures, and what will be your suggestions for our youth to get ready for that. Thank you.
Sure. Is that passed over to me, Imran?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. All right. So I am a firm believer in innovate or die. And I know that that sounds really extreme, but as entrepreneurs, we have to be willing to pivot, and sometimes we have to fail fast, and that's okay too. And so I think that we just have to be really open-minded looking at going into new ventures or maintaining a venture, that if we don't quickly innovate and if we don't catch up with the technology, for example, that's required to do business these days, then we're not going to make it. I mean, there's so many more people that are online doing streaming events like this, and that are on Zoom. And if you're a business or you're a corporation and you aren't up to speed, then you're not going to make it. And so I think that in 2020 and 2020 now, but beyond, I think that this is going to become a critical skill and a critical knowledge base. And so, if you're a student and you're looking about job opportunities, or you're looking at a new venture possibility, I mean, look at what the huge demand is right now for online meetings and online technology, and what are the skill sets that are required to be able to build those platforms, maintain those platforms, manage those, moderate them. I think another thing from a small business perspective or startup perspective, any company that's going to be looking at hiring in the next year is, especially if they had to scale down during the pandemic, is going to be seriously, and I don't think that this is necessarily a new trend, but I think that companies, especially startups, are seriously looking to hire people that have multiple skill sets. So you might have gone to school for computer science, but you also know how to do graphic design and video editing and some of these other things. Corporations are wanting to be a little bit more nimble, and they can do that if they're able to hire people that can actually wear multiple hats, if you understand where I'm coming from that. And then, I think really a lot of people, I don't know if it's a lot of people, but I think the people that are going to really get ahead in the next year are the ones that are paying attention. And I know I just did a whole keynote on this, but it's the ones who are paying attention to their holistic journey and their holistic experience in life. So they're not only paying attention to what are they studying educationally, what does their career look like, but people are looking at their health, and they're spending more time with that, and they're looking at their relationships at home and in their community. And people have really had to prioritize where to spend their time about what matters, and have noticed more so what matters during this time. And so I think people that start to, and typically when I do keynotes, I'll also talk a lot about personal branding, and I didn't get into that because there wasn't enough time. But I think that individuals right now are really focusing on updating their resumes, their CVs, their LinkedIn profiles, their social media stuff online so that they can position themselves for new opportunities, or just catch up and reflect the work that they've done so that they're ready to pivot or jump into something new as they need to. And so I think that that's something that more and more people are paying attention to right now. And I think that pretty much covers it. I really liked what you said about public-private partnerships. I think that that's a great point that you made there, and we have to do things differently in order to generate funding and to survive.
All right. Thank you, Kylie, for your opinion, and we always believe in that way. And I will go back to Mr. Mustafizur Rahman to know more about, as he's working with the education sector at the same time in different policy levels. So, what will be your suggestions for the government so that like they can be prepared as well with your opinion or like with your suggestions might be.
Thanks, Abraham. I was reading. I was following that what's happening from the government. I was looking at the budget. Very recently, Bangladesh government announced they're going to spend around 46 billion Aussie dollar. Sorry, it was the Bangladesh taka. So when I made the report for my office, I had to turn to that Australian dollar. It's a huge amount of money. So I was thinking, where they're going to spend the money. So I picked up my phone. I do have some friends, colleagues working Minister of Education and Minister of Public Expatriate. They say the lackings they have realized during this COVID. COVID is everybody's talking about. It's a challenge. You're scared. I think it's a lesson. I think we, until unless if you don't go through a problem, you don't get lesson, and you don't cure yourself and rectify yourself and do something better. Otherwise, you'll keep doing the wrong thing because what you think is that. So when you are in a situation, you're a crisis, you cry, you get lost. Then at some point, as you said, you decide, yes, this is my problem, and this is I have to do. I have to come back and stand on the faith. So government found out that we have a problem with a technical knowledge that has to be quite appropriate so people will appreciate in the global market. Number one. Number two, we have a problem with the technology. So we need to spend money to use education technology and high tech so that we can reach everyone when you are at home. You can't go to the school. So are we going to stop ourselves? No. So government is very smartly taken few initiative. I'm putting money not to buy a book. I'm putting money to actually enrich you, to actually make yourself ready with the technology so that no matter where you are sitting, you can still get your knowledge and you prepare yourself, and after this you can get into the market. You need to have people for job ready market. So government do have money. They're investing money for high tech. They're investing money the new technology, new way of learning, and they're trying to minimize the problem, maximize the quality. They're looking at some country like Australia, US, Canada. uh, what are the success stories with their education? So they're trying to bring down. So they're using their embassy and mission to go and find out why they're very strong. Why Oxford is ready with their vaccine is going for a third trial, human trial. Why not us? So government is a
Exactly.
lesson for government as well. And government do have a burden. The government don't want to see. They have look, India is a highly popular, over a billion people. Why Indian economy is far better than us? Because they train. They don't want to see kids after 8 year go to and do a master's and PhD. You have done your 8th class, you know how to read and write, go to technical college, learn, after 1 year you're job ready. So we need that kind of concept in our market to be a job ready. Look, order will come. If you look at garments, these people are all active, they have all the orders now, and the people got back. People, you can't stop people. So I think we are very good with that decision by the government. We have money, we are very good and understood. We had a problem, now we have solved that problem. We can sit back. There are people depending on me. So I can't go and cry. I don't get lost. I need to prepare my CV, as you said. I need to go and online. Even I did online training from Yale University because I was very upset. It was mental health. So first I decided I need to cure myself. Why I'm so worried? Why look at the TV and people are dying? Look at something positive. So I look at browse what is the status of vaccine, when it will come to the market. So, oh, by next year, June might come. So I need to get ready for that. I need to go out. I started looking at my dresses that I'll pick and I'll go out. So don't get disappointed. Try to find out the best way to learn. There are a lot of opportunity by the government, private sector. Get yourself ready. Post COVID, we are all set, and people are actually will be waiting for you to hire you. So all you need is skill. So don't waste your time. Skill yourself and get ready for it. That's it. What I felt.
Exactly.
Thank you, Ran.
Exactly. That is the whole idea, to reskill yourself and to be prepared for the future. And at the same time, like in different countries, we have already seen like they are busy with reshaping and reskilling their reskilling themselves to be get ready for the next challenges to face it. And with this note, we are coming to Mr. Muiz to know more about his thought regarding this reskilling or how they can be re-strategizing them for the future. Muiz. Hello. Muiz, can you hear me? Hello. Yes.
Yeah, so I think like Musavis bhai already covered 70%, as I think, like, because he already said like what is the process. Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, 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 completely.
We can. Yeah, yeah.
Is it
We
okay?
can hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Hello?
yeah, yeah. We can hear you completely. Yes, Muiz, we can hear you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
am I audible?
Actually, I can hear you.
We all can hear you.
That is.
Is it anything technical error, Muiz, from your side? Yes,
Okay,
yes,
now it's
yes, yes.
fine, right? Yeah. So my thought and my view for the reskilling and yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So I think like the for the point we had basically discussed, like I'm also already saying, yep, I'm fine. I'm yep. So I think like I already said, like I'm absolutely agree with the Mustafiz bhai already covered most of the points. And the other thing, like from the government perspective, what is my point of view to I mean, what is the lacking from our side? Yes, we don't have most of the department. We don't have much data. This is the very important things. And now at this moment, in the data perspective, we need to be ensured to make a correct data. What we basically need to be ensured for the government perspective in each and every sector. So that's how it is, which is help to the investment perspective to the partner to understand like what is the current scenario is going on. If we need to be discussion now at this moment and they are looking for data, if we cannot provide, it is not easy to communicate practically the what is the result will come when they invest in this market. Because if you talk about always the theoretical, I mean, people or the investor will not I mean, didn't get the I mean, the interest for invest in the market. So I think to collect the data and also the correct data, it is very important. And for the skill perspective or reskilling perspective, the loss of opportunity will be it's not the recreate, I mean, but I'm to say the new opportunity is coming. So to build up their own self or to I mean, hit the market or getting this opportunity, absolutely, I think to build up the skills perspective, the technical knowledge, and also to more focus the practical thing is going on. After complete the graduation, if you think I'm more capable to serve a company in this sector or in this position, I think like, I mean, the beyond on that, parallelly, you should have to know how it works or where you already apply for this position. I mean, how it will be, I mean, how can you added value in that position? I know you don't have experience. I don't know you didn't have that kind of much practical knowledge, but I think to learn how to do it or to involve yourself to make your develop the skills for the technical perspective, I think it will, I mean, help to go for the next level and to build up the skills.
Right, right. Thank you, Muiz, for your thought. And like with this note, we are coming to the end of this opening ceremony, and we have other 10 sessions coming on in next 2 days. We will end this opening ceremony with your closing remark, Heidi. Do you want to say anything regarding this and what we are expecting in this Beyond 20 as we have designed this 3 days based in skills, startups, and their investment, and like how they can be prepared for themselves to get ready with these challenges. So, Kylie, your last opinion regarding this session.
Thank you for, first of all, thank you again, Imran, for inviting me to be here. It was a pleasure to share the panel with you gentlemen. In regard to skills, I think it's really a mindset of knowing that life is a journey and it's filled with lessons, as you were saying before, and we should never stop learning. And so I think what skills we're obtaining today aren't going to be the last time. And so we need to kind of we need to get to a mindset that embraces learning, and growing. And so I think from a skill set perspective, to keep adding very technical skills, especially ones that are related to things that are required for virtual, as we discussed before. And then from a startup perspective, talked about it. I kind of talked about it already, and I think it ties in with skills, just being very versatile and being able to add value to different parts of the business model and to the business operations, and being able to articulate that you're able to do that and that you can do that. And I think that is probably the number one way for example, a student in a university who's looking for a potential job with a startup, or if you're looking to start a startup, the more that you can know about all the different parts of the operation, the better. You don't necessarily have to be experts in every area, but if you can do more than one thing, that is a huge value add for a corporation. And then from an investment perspective, I don't really know what to tell you on that. I think that there has been a little bit of slowdown in some area as it relates to startup investment. But I do think that with a good business model and a business plan, there are investors out there that have disposable income that are looking to make the right investment. And so I can't really speak specifically to that more than that, but I'm hoping that there's going to be all kinds of great information for everyone. And I really encourage you to participate in this. And what I would recommend is, if you're not already on LinkedIn or on the social platform that professionals are using in Bangladesh or wherever you are in the world, to make sure to get your profile there and to connect with each of these panelists that are speaking with you right now and for the next 3 days, because all of us can be assets to you in different parts of the world. And I would highly encourage everybody to get their personal brand going, and that will benefit you in the future for positioning yourself for employment or for investment for your future company.
Thank you, Kylie, and it was amazing having you with us in this opening ceremony, and we are looking forward to work with you in coming days. Last few words from Mustafiz Rahman Tushar. If you want to say anything to our audience.
All right. Thank you, Imran. Uh, I just say with two lines. One is skill we need to develop. Whenever you're going out, please wear the mask. It's not you
Right.
that you have COVID, it's the other people might have. So you need to protect yourself. Or if you have COVID, you are actually protecting others. So it's a pretty simple skill. Put it up, not expensive. Go out,
Skill.
save yourself because there are a lot of loved ones waiting behind you and at your home. I really don't want that they're crying. You're coming with COVID positive.
Right.
Skill is something is not at your workplace, but your living life place when you're going out with your friends to a restaurant to have a coffee. Make sure
Right.
you are safe. If you can protect yourself, you can save them. So develop that skill first and go for the next one. Thank you, Imran. And it was
Right.
amazing program. Whenever you ask me, I don't say no. I know
Yes.
there are a lot of people watching from Facebook. Please keep watching these events and
Yes.
shows that he is organizing. Like
Right.
we had Kylie from US. I'm not that skilled, but still, I just spoke from my mind. I'm sure that you like it or not like it, but if you follow a little bit of it, I'm sure you're not going to be worried about it. Thank you, everyone.
Exactly.
Thank you, viewers. And Imran,
Exactly.
thank you. Good
Thank you.
initiative.
Thank you,
Good luck.
Mr. Mustafa Tushar and Kylie Rowe and other guests, those who have already joined. And we have got our guest Muiz Tasnim Toki back with us. We will end this session with his closing remarks. If he wants to add anything with it, Muiz, are you? Can you hear me? I think he's facing different problems. Yeah, Muiz, we will end the session with your closing remarks if you want to add anything to our audience. Muiz.
Yeah, so I think the keyword perspective, like I can say, like be positive as always. I'm saying, like, and also focus, like what you want to do, and the position or what's the job you're looking for in the new perspective, or absolutely this in this pandemic. I think like you should have to focus on that and build up your skills. If you don't have experience, don't worry about it, but be try to make yourself an attitude to with a professional, and also be positive attitude, and also try to be get more learn what where you are looking for when you apply CV, at least to start at that on that organization. When you apply CV, make yourself you are much more than knowledgeable on the subject you are talking about, and also make sure yourself when they I mean when you face a board, and they will absolutely looking for that absolutely you're looking for that opportunity, like yes, I want to be one on board on these things. So make yourself as a confident, and also give that vibe to the board, like yes, I'm really want to make this job, and if I'm getting a chance this opportunity, I'll make it success. But
Right.
sometimes when in this industry, is my experience, like for the skill perspective, or when the freshers are really looking for in their intention, like always relationship connectivity or reference can work, but I'm really sorry to say it is not works in all the time.
Right.
So this is need to be in this it is a totally mindset up in our country or in this Asian region, like sometimes reference is very much important. But I'm sorry to say, yes, in nowadays people are really looking for the dynamic, the committed, and also like the I mean the knowledge perspective or the skills people, and who are really passionate for his job. So I
Right.
think need to be make sure on it, and success will come, inshallah. Yeah.
Inshallah. And thank you, Mr. Muiz Tasnim Toki, for your valuable time. And at the same time, we are looking forward to host you in our coming sessions, like as we have planned earlier, into different segmentized session, what we have designed with EY and yourself. You will gonna moderate one sessions
Sure.
in coming times. in Beyond 20. And with this note, we are ending this opening ceremony. And we are looking forward all of your participation, those who are watching and those who will watch it later. Please register yourself. You will get a participation certificate from our end if you participate in every single session we are going to host in coming 2 days. So thank you everyone, those who are watching, and Mr. Tasnim Toki for your valuable time, and hope to see you soon in our upcoming sessions. With this note, we are closing this ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you.